You think you know the story of going to the moon, but for the first time in over 50 years, for the first time in most of our lifetimes, humans are actually leaving Earth's orbit. We are going back. This is the story of Artemis II, the mission that's reopening a frontier we thought was just for the history books. You know, this phrase, "we rise together," it perfectly captures the feeling of this new era. This isn't just one country's mission, it's about all of us, together, pushing our boundaries further than we ever have before. It really sets the stage for a journey that's been half a century in the making. So that's the big question, right? We've been there, we planted the flag, why go back now? And what makes this specific flight so incredibly important? Well, that's what we're going to break down. The crew, the tech, and the real reason we're heading back out there. At the heart of any human spaceflight mission are, of course, the people. And the 4 astronauts of Artemis II, what a group. Each one brings something totally unique to the table for this incredible journey. So, let's meet these new pioneers. Leading the whole thing is Commander Reed Wiseman. This guy is a veteran of both the US Navy and NASA. He's already spent 165 days living on the International Space Station. That kind of experience, especially as a lead spacewalker, that is exactly what you want in the commander's seat for a flight this big. In the pilot's seat, you've got Victor Glover, and he is no stranger to making history. He piloted the very first operational Crew Dragon mission to the space station. His experience on that cutting-edge commercial spacecraft makes him the perfect person to fly this next-generation ship. Next up, Mission Specialist Christina Cook. I mean, she completely shattered records with her 328-day stay on the ISS. That's the longest a woman has ever been in space on a single flight. She was also part of the first all-female spacewalk. Her knowledge of long-duration missions is just invaluable. And this is what shows you how global the Artemis program really is. Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency will be the first person from outside the United States to ever fly to the moon. And get this history-making flight will be his first time in space. What a way to start. All right, a crew like that needs a machine that can get the job done. So let's talk hardware. Let's see how the tech for Artemis builds on the legacy of Apollo. We're talking about the Orion capsule and the absolute monster that gets it off the ground, the Space Launch System, or SLS. Now, this comparison is just fascinating. Orion is just plain bigger and better than the old Apollo command module. It carries 4 astronauts instead of 3, it has way more living space, and yep, you're reading that right, it has a toilet. That'll be the first one ever used beyond low Earth orbit. It might seem like a small detail, but for a 10-day mission, it's a crucial upgrade. Okay, now for the rockets. At liftoff, the SLS is officially the most powerful rocket ever built, pushing with more thrust than even the legendary Saturn V. But here's the part that'll make you think. Look at the payload. Even though it's more powerful, it sends less weight to the moon, only 27 tons compared to the Saturn V's incredible 45. Now, this isn't a design flaw, it's on purpose. It shows a whole different way of thinking, one that relies on multiple launches and future hardware like the Starship lander. So we have our crew, we have our hardware. Let's look at the actual journey. It is so important to understand this. Artemis II is not a landing. Think of it as a 10-day flyby, a full-on shakedown cruise to test every single system before we even think about putting boots back on the surface. The drama starts hours before liftoff. The countdown is this incredibly precise dance. Propellant loading starts 9 hours out. The crew gets on board at L-4 hours. But the real tension, the nail-biting part, is in the final minutes. There's a critical go-no-go poll at L-16 minutes. Then, the automated launch sequencer takes over. At T0, the solid rocket boosters ignite, and they are gone. Once they're in orbit, the mission is basically a 10-day road trip. The big event happens on day 2, the translunar injection. That's the huge engine burn that literally flings Orion out of Earth's gravity and sends it on a path to the moon. They'll coast for days, swing around the far side, and then let gravity pull him right back home for a splashdown in the Pacific on day 10. So, after all that, what is the big picture? Why fly all that way just to turn around and come back? The answer is pretty simple. This mission is the absolute critical next step. It is the bridge between the uncrewed test flight of Artemis I and the future landings of Artemis III and beyond. And while they're out there, the Artemis II crew will travel farther from Earth than any human in history. They're going to hit a peak distance of about 402,000 kilometers, just squeaking by the old record set by the Apollo 13 crew way back in 1970. They will literally be the farthest human beings have ever been from home. And this right here is the whole point. Artemis II is a test flight. The best way to think about it is like Apollo 8, the first mission that ever orbited the moon. Its whole purpose is to be a shakedown cruise, to push Orion, its life support, its navigation, its crew, everything to the absolute limit. You have to prove every system works before you can commit to putting people back on the ground. So this mission is designed to prove that the ship and the crew are ready. It is the final dress rehearsal. By flying this mission, the 4 astronauts of Artemis II are opening the door for the next giant leap. They're setting the stage, and they're leaving all of us with that ultimate question. When will we see human footprints in the lunar dust once more? That is the future Artemis II is built to make possible.
If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, share it, and subscribe for more insane content.